Hello, Pisces. There's some tricky energy in this reading. I'm going to say that right at the beginning because it may not be a reading that you're comfortable with. Some difficult themes in here about separation and loss, and that loss could be in different forms. So, if that's going to be a big emotional trigger for you, it might not be your reading at this time. It is somebody's reading, though. I assume there's information here that's going to be helpful to someone, so I'm going to go ahead and go forward with it. Could be connected to do you know what, it's an ongoing theme. I don't know who it's for, but I've had this message coming through for a good, say, 2 weeks by the time this reading goes up. I feel like somebody suffered a loss. It could be a Taurus, it could be a father. I've also got that somebody could have lost a mother. I think that somebody is stepping up into a leadership role because somebody who could have been like the head of the family, the responsibility's been passed down to them. Also, somebody's undergoing a separation here. This, I think, came through from Cappy's reading, and it feels like everything at once is the way it feels. And I think it could be that somebody's losing someone. It could be that somebody's separating, like somebody's divorcing and they lose a parent, and it's just like the whole world has been falling apart, is the energy that's coming through. Now, there could be something to do with water and oceans. I keep getting this. Somebody, could be a naval, or something could have happened to do with water. I feel, with your reading, I feel like I'm prying. I feel like this is personal and I shouldn't be reading it. I feel like it feels like I need to look away from the cards. It feels like I don't want to, because normally I pull the cards and then I kind of like go in depth, and I just feel like I'm prying on something that's very personal. Again, I think Virgo and Leo last week had something about awake. I got this kind of wake up call thing earlier in the week where it's like somebody could have literally seen a tree hit by lightning, or it's like somebody had a wake up moment or a realization or a piece of information coming through. It just feels like it's been coming through all the readings. So what it is, I don't know. Whether one person is going through a big upheaval and it's just taking over all my readings, I don't know. There may be something for you in here, there may not be. So I feel like I'm just going to read the cards. I'm just going to go ahead and read the cards. So the song that randomized for you was What It Feels Like for a Girl by Madonna, which does talk about the differences in the genders, and there's kind of something here with this Sacrifice Bull card and Sisterhood of the Rose, where it feels a bit like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Like, because the Bull card, there's a story here about an ancient Roman society that was all men and they met secretly underground. And then you've also got like the Sisterhood of the Rose, which is a very feminine grouping. So there could be something about traditional gender roles. Perhaps somebody was raised with very traditional gender roles. Perhaps there are some kind of like places that certain people can access if they're of a certain gender, and other places that are not accessible to them. But there's this separation here of feminine and masculine energy, which is interesting because we have the coming apart card here. So it could be a separation of the self, a separation of, the feminine and masculine side of the self, or literally a feminine and a masculine who are separating. But it could also be something about gender identity, just because I've got this page of Earth who's a little boy, and then it's almost like a progression into the Queen of Earth. So the Queen of Earth would be typically feminine. It could be something about somebody having to play the role of the mother, a man, a father having to play that kind of typically mother role. It could be somebody who's transitioning. There could be something there. Again, it could just be for one person, so do leave it if it doesn't fit. It just feels like, it feels a little bit like somebody who was raised in an environment where it's like you're either a man or you're a woman. You're either in the kitchen nattering with the mums or you're out hunting in the fields. It's like, but this, it's just that this page of Earth, it always gives me Pisces energy, which is really strange because it's not typically a Pisces card. It's a I would say it's just earth sign energy, but for some reason he's so Pisces to me. I think because I've got a little boy who's Pisces and he's quite sensitive, and I associate Pisces energy with imagination as well, especially like childhood imagination. And you can see he's kind of like, he's out playing in the fields, he's got these kind of like antlers made out of twigs. He's like, he just feels like he's got a really strong imagination. So it's like, maybe it's kind of that energy of like, especially if it's a little boy raised in a very masculine environment of like, we're going hunting, and he's not necessarily feminine but quite a delicate, sensitive child, where perhaps somebody does have a lot of that kind of Piscean energy, and it's there's just a sensitivity there. There's something as well about, because this bull card is sacrifice, and it does talk about how ritualistic sacrifices throughout history where people would sacrifice bulls. And I think one of the cards down here talks about being vegetarian or vegan. So again, it's this thing about sympathy for the animals. Perhaps that person just does not fit in to that like typically masculine hunter environment that they were raised in. So there is, again, if we don't talk about gender, if we take gender out of it, there is this much more feminine, nurturing Queen of Earth energy, where it's like, this person is responsible, they're very capable, they're very skilled, but they're very good at like homely things as well. They make sure the children have had the bath, they've got full tummies, that they're safe, that they've got a roof over their head, that they're protected, that they're given everything they need on a kind of like tangible, nurturing level. So it could be a mother and son. I'm not sure. You do have companionship here next to them with this dog energy. So you could have a dog. There's something there that I'm not quite getting. And again, it's almost like I've got this resistance to praying too far. And the dog card as well, it does talk about hunting a little bit as well. You can see there's someone with a bow and arrow there. It's like hunting, but you sympathize with the stag. You sympathize. It's almost like empathetic with the thing that's being hunted. Is the way it's coming through. Let's start at the beginning, and I'll kind of work my way through. So for some of you, there is a separation, there is a coming apart, there is a relationship that's coming apart. It could be a marriage. For some of you, not all of you, this coming apart did come out in the reverse, which actually, it almost emphasizes the meaning of this card. I am going to read that card for you. It's at the start of your reading, so this is a pivotal kind of key cornerstone of your reading. This is what we're leading the reading with, coming apart. It could be coming apart, like falling apart yourself, you know, questioning your own identity. The other cornerstones of your reading is this beautiful higher power card, which shares this gorgeous kind of like purple energy, very spiritual. And you have down here silence, snow, and fairy spotting. So silence can talk about things that aren't said. It sits next to the Watcher card, which is really interesting because it's like, sometimes it's like people bite the tongue but they watch, or they observe but they don't necessarily speak. You did have a very, very secretive energy in your last reading, so I feel like this is something to do with your energy where you're watching but not necessarily speaking. It kind of came through as High Priestess energy. Leopards and tigers and things can sometimes symbolize kind of divine feminine energy, so there's something there with that. I just noticed, like, I don't know why it didn't occur to me sooner, but you've kind of got like a cat and dog here. Again, this women are from Venus, men are from Mars business, like fighting like cat and dog, like, you know, like the difference. Silence also does talk to me about grief, and about if you think about like a minute's silence, you know, the things that are kind of associated with that there. For some of you, don't panic if that's not your situation. You'll know if it is. I don't predict these things. It's stuff that's happening energetically already. So it's either your situation or it isn't. This rabbit keeps popping up as well. Again, it's been for the past few days, I keep seeing this rabbit. Again, rabbits would be something that would be being hunted, right? Silence. It's like for some of you, it's just like not speaking, keeping things to yourself. So again, I don't want to. I don't know. It's funny because everything's out of order because Aquarius had this loose lips sinks ships energy. Or was that Capricorn? It might have been Capricorn. So I'm like really cautious now about what I'm saying, and I almost may go back and redo the Capricorn reading. I don't know yet. I'll see closer to the time. Okay. Coming apart. Yeah, you have this sacrifice book card as well, which gave me Sacrifice by Elton John, which does talk about a relationship ending. People can read it different ways, whatever it means to you. You know your situation best, take it as it fits you. It may not even be your situation, it may be the situation of somebody around you that you're observing, possibly a parent, where you're observing your parents coming apart, or you know, somebody that you know, a family member or something like that. Yeah, take it as it resonates, as always. There's something to do with smell and scent. He says the scent of her lingers, and this card also mentions scent, like the smelling fairies it talks about. And I had a reading that I've done off camera and I haven't actually recorded yet, but there was the Six of Swords, which is a card about moving on, moving to calmer waters, moving out of situations that were turbulent and, you know, choppy waters, difficult emotions, to a calmer place. And I've got this kind of like little bag of words. It's a bit scruffy. It's my daughter's old pencil case. I haven't got anything better to put it in yet. But I've kind of got like, if I just quickly show you, I've got two packs of these words that I've been pulling out. Delirious none. And you can see it's two different packs, one pink and one white. And the word smell, I only pulled two things out, and it was smell from both of the like different packs. So definitely something to do with moving forwards and smell. Like it could be that, you know, like sometimes people say that when somebody's passed over, you get the smell of the perfume. You know, it's like suddenly you'll smell a perfume from nowhere and you'll be like, I think they're around me, I think they're here. It could be something to do with being guided by people who have passed over, or it could also be something to do with if you've split with somebody because they smelt like somebody else's perfume. There could be for one person out there. Right. As I say, I didn't want to say too much. I've kind of... It's really difficult sometimes to know how much to say and how much to not say. But I assume if they're giving it me, they want me to say it. Interesting as well with this coming apart, you've got what I kind of was making my own deck ages ago. I've got this Queen of Masks. Now this is somebody who's an expert at playing different roles. So she could be in the upright or in the reverse. In the upright is kind of like almost like the Queen of Earth. She can kind of handle anything that's thrown at her. She's great at work, she's great as a mum, she's great as a friend, you know, she's funny on a night out. It's kind of like somebody who can play any role that's asked of them. But in the reverse, it would also mean somebody who's very good at being deceptive, at putting a false mask on. So I feel like there's something there for somebody. And again, don't worry too much about gender. It is quite fluid in tarot. So there is something about gender politics, but there's also something about somebody who's hiding their true self. So I'm just going to read it. Coming apart. Now is the time to take separate paths. The coming apart card is a sign to put to an end what is no longer working for you. Has a commitment been broken? Commitments come in many forms as well. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. Has a commitment been broken? Perhaps you need to break a promise or change course because you took on more than you could handle. This is a perfect time to reassess your goals and values. Are your actions in alignment with what you believe in? Have you created a partnership that is not mutually beneficial? Separation, dissolution, and dispersion are all in focus now. If someone wishes to break away from you, don't chase the relationship out of a sense of fear. Again, if you watch the video to Elton John's Sacrifice, there is a moment where the guy is chasing the woman. The price you pay will not be worth the prize. Separation brings good fortune. Now, as I say, the coming apart and the strength card came out in reverse. So it could be talking about a relationship that is not strong, or a relationship, again, the strength card, you can see there's a woman and a lion on this deck, where the two give each other strength. I'm seeing, do you know, can you hear them? I haven't been seeing the crows all this year. Last year there were loads of them, and I haven't been seeing them, and I've even been looking for them, and there's about 9 on the roof opposite me, and it's the first time I feel like I've properly seen them all year, so there must be something significant to that. It's like the crows are back. I know that, I think Santaro had a reading for Aquarius that was called the crows are back, and it's true. It's literally true. Just sorry to pull away from the reading for a second. It's anything that happens in a reading is part of the reading. It's significant. When I first started getting interested in all this, there was a reading where it said, watch the blackbirds around your house. And I was like, what blackbirds around my house? And then like the next morning, there was this crow in my garden just kind of like on the fence looking at me. And I was like, oh my God, I think there was 2 crows. And I broke down. It was like a sign, and it just really hit me. I was like, oh my God, they're really there. And then ever since then, I would see them everywhere, to the point that they woke me up one morning. I opened my windows, like, why are the crows going crazy? And there was a huge cloud of them. And my neighbour opposite me was very elderly and very ill. And I just knew he'd passed away. I just knew. Later that day, we found out he had. I don't think crows are bad. I think they're messengers. I think they're just informing us of something. And I think sometimes they guide us through things that are difficult. But yeah, whatever it means to you, the crows are back. Maybe go and watch that Aquarius reading by Santaro. I can't remember the details of it. I just remember the title because I was like, it's true, the crows are actually. Oh my God, there's about 20 of them. I'm creeped out, Pisces. I'm creeped out. Okay, it was reversed. A situation is unraveling and your best plans are leading you into a tricky maze. Your challenge is to separate out the elements of this puzzle to get a better perspective on what happened. You may have lingered too long in a place where you didn't belong anymore, seduced by a temporary solution. As you untangle yourself, it's important to maintain a sense of humour. Don't fret. You will learn something valuable that you need later on. Breathe and know that you are loved. Again, it could be like spirit guides with the crows. I feel like they came out as the advice card for Libra's reading. I need to go and rewatch that myself. Yeah, strength in reverse. So it could be like a relationship that is no longer mutually supportive, as it says. Is that pomegranates as well on that card? Yeah. Again, with the symbolism of the pomegranates. They're on the High Priestess card because the High Priestess is able to commune with the spirit realm. That's kind of the meaning of the pomegranates on the High Priestess card. So I do feel like you've got some kind of spirit guide who's got your back, especially if you're facing something that's very, very difficult at the moment. Fairy spotting. It's time for you to go fairy spotting. It is said that seeing is believing, but in fact the opposite is true. Believing is seeing. It's time to go fairy. Oh, sorry. Have you ever seen a fairy? Maybe you have, but you try to explain it away with the voice of reason. So this to me is not necessarily talking about fairies. To me, this is talking about any sign from the universe or anything that's spiritual or unexplainable. So you saw something, Pisces, I feel, or you sensed something, or you knew something and you doubted yourself. And then I feel like you had confirmation from the universe in a similar way to how I knew, like the way the crows were acting, I knew that my neighbour had passed away, and he had. Or how I woke up one morning with the Tower card and the Death card in my vision. And later that day, my stepmom had passed away. I don't want to predict anything. I don't want to predict things, because I think what you think about, you bring about. I think this is somebody's situation already. It's like somebody knew, somebody had a sign, and it was confirmed. Is the way it is coming through. It doesn't have to be doom and gloom either. It's just, I'm just sharing my experiences. That's all I'm doing. Have you ever seen a fairy? Maybe you have, but you try to explain it away with the voice of reason. And again, I'm sorry, I've talked about myself a lot, and I know one of my Pisces friends who watches my reading was like, you talk about yourself a lot. I do, because I think personal experience brings a lot to a reading. People can... I know that, again, when I had like my spiritual awakening, which it still sounds silly when I say it, and I doubted myself, and I was like, I'm clearly going crazy, this cannot be. But the amount of confirmation I would get, like those stories I've just told, outside of myself, was just, it just became too much to continue to deny. It would have been crazy to deny that this was happening to me. It would have been like an emu sticking my head in the sand. That's so funny, because look what's here, movement and the underlying. Yeah, it would have been crazy to deny it when all the proof is given to me, like, in that way. So I feel like I remember when these things were happening and I didn't understand them, and I felt like I was going crazy and I was scared. I was Googling things, and I was looking up, tarot card readers, and other people would talk about their experience, and I was like, that's what's happening to me. And it was cathartic to hear that other people were experiencing the same thing. So I feel like saying you're not going crazy, Pisces. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not a psychologist, but I would say that I'm sorry, still watching the crows there. I would say that you do have to trust your instincts, especially if you're in that high priestess energy. And if you are being reasonable, and this is the thing, I was like, I know I'm not crazy, because I'm constantly asking, am I crazy? And I think if I was crazy, I wouldn't be questioning myself in that way, So I think there's something there where you're also getting the signs, and you need that validation, and you need to hear it from somebody else. So, okay, I'll shut up and just read the bloody book. Have you ever seen a fairy? Maybe you have, but you try to explain it away with the voice of reason. Or perhaps you're a fully fledged believer, or better still, a knower. You know fairies exist. Again, fairies, you could slot whatever you wanted to in there. It could be angels, it could be ghosts, spirit guides, whatever it is for you. Being sensitive, fairies can appear to us in many different ways. Being sensitive, and this is what I said about this person, and open to experiences is helpful when fairy spotting, as it allows us to be more receptive to seeing these magical spirits of nature. I mean, it could be like, look, this is literally a fairy on this card, like so many fairies from different decks. They very often appear as flashes of light darting around wooded areas or gardens, or if you're really lucky, inside your home. They can also manifest just outside your line of sight, often in the corner of your field of vision. So you're not totally sure if there's anything there at all. Sometimes they can be felt intuitively, seen only in your mind's eye. They may also bring a flowery scent, again this thing about the scent, or an unusual smell, rather like toffee apples or popcorn. When they appear in their full form, it's a true privilege, for they're rightly wary of humans. You could try photographing fairies. Even if you can't see them with your own eyes, a camera can often pick up a fairy essence, which may appear as a beam of light or a tiny orb. The best place to do this is out in nature, especially in your own garden or woodland. Midsummer's Eve is a particularly good time to look for fairies. You're most likely to see a fairy if you care about nature and the environment, as they're more willing to connect with you. I feel like you've made some sort of connection and something's been unlocked for you, because you've got this magical gateway card here. Just kind of bring it a bit closer. So it's like she's got the key. And again, there's been this thing for about a month now about keys. You've got the key to unlock the door now. And you can also see this portal here on this card. So, and it's almost like with these two columns of this card, you're going through some kind of portal intuitively. It's like, again, going back to the High Priestess card, the traditional image of the High Priestess card, she sits between two pillars and there's a veil between them. And I feel like now it's the time for you to push through that veil. Because the Illuminaire card talks about illumination, higher knowledge. So her magical gateway. It takes courage and trust to venture into the unknown, yet this is where the greatest rewards are. It's time to step boldly forwards without looking back. The fairies are asking you to step through the fairy door and into their world of magic and wonder. They're telling you that fairy tales are real and that you're never too old to believe in fairies. That's funny, because that reading that I did off camera where I was talking about the smell, I may have to record it and put it up. It was very Piscean to me, because it was talking about somebody who is almost like an adult child, kind of like this Queen of Earth energy, where you step into the responsibilities of motherhood and parenthood. You step into that mother energy from the kind of maiden energy. But it was almost as though somebody was reluctantly leaving behind this kind of maiden energy, the childlike little girl energy that believes in the fairy tales and believes in the magic. And I always say that Pisces is the sign that is most connected to the world of fantasy, and they always keep that kind of Peter Pan quality alive in themselves. So it's like you can meet people who are Pisces star sign, or have strong Pisces in the chart, and they could be very old, but it's like they have that glint in their eye, and you just know that there's something in them that is kind of magical. It's like they always believe in magic, even when they get, I think Pisces energy as well, it's because it's got that very sensitive nature. It can often be taken advantage of. This is a common key feature of Pisces, where a lot of the time it's so beautiful and pure and childlike and angelic that often people take advantage of that, and that can cause Pisces to be quite jaded and quite calloused. But I still think it's still within there. Even the most jaded and calloused Pisces still, will watch sci-fi movies or love a good fairy tale romance, or, love Disney movies, or, there's always something a little bit out of the ordinary and magical about Pisces energy. And it comes out in lots of different ways. It may be like a love of Star Wars, or, a love of role-playing games or something like that. There's always this imagination at work, which is why I love Pisces energy so much. You're never too old to believe in fairies. Perhaps you've been thinking about embarking on the fairy path. It could be that you're around children again, and almost like reconnecting with that I believe in fairies energy, of being around children and having that being reawakened within you. Perhaps you've been thinking about embarking on the fairy path. If you've unlocked this deck, the chances are you've already had more than a passing interest in the way of the fae. If so, now is the time to walk through the fairy door and fully embrace your magical fairy self. The golden key to this fairy door resides inside your heart. It's important to know that once you step through this magical gateway, your life will be changed. You'll see and feel nature in a deeper way. You'll feel more connected to the plants, trees, and flowers, and develop a deeper compassion for all living things. Do you remember what I said about the hunters? You may even find yourself becoming vegan or vegetarian if you're not already. Your interest in conservation and the environment could also be heightened, which is very, very important at this time, considering the news we've had in the last couple of weeks about the environment. These are all traits of somebody who has ventured through the fairy door, so consider this carefully. If you are at all unsure of whether you should walk through the fairy door, meditate on the question until you know in your heart that it's the right thing to do. Once you've passed through the door, prepare for more magic and joy to enter your life, knowing that you're always safe, protected, and loved. And again, it said, have a sense of humour with this coming apart card. And I think that the fairies are typically very playful. So I think it's time to connect to that kind of light-hearted, mischievous Peter Pan quality within inside yourself, whatever that means to you. I do think there's enlightenment because you have this Illuminaire card here, which says, I'll bring it closer. It's very similar to me to the High Priestess card because of those two pillars. Only truth has integrity and can stand the test of time. So truth. What is your truth, Pisces? I want to say. If you have picked Illuminaire today, hear his message. I illuminate what can't be seen. That which is hidden from you, or within you, that which is hidden within you. Your truth needs to be seen and shared. You cannot hide behind your masks forever. Your shields of false protection don't serve you. They don't serve you. Okay, let me stand up so I can bring this closer. Only truth has integrity and can stand the test of time. Illuminaire is the first dragon I met who holds an angelic as well as a dragon energy, in this case from the archangel Uriel. Illuminaire appears when we are not listening and have been, are you listening? Are you listening? I know we don't have forever. It's Luke Sital Singh, benediction. Again, we don't have forever. I don't want to lose more time. Benediction. I'm just making a note so I can pop it in your description box. Benediction. Luke Sital Singh. Listen to that one with the box of tissues. Illuminaire appears when we are not listening and have been resisting what needs uncovering and changing within our lives. This is usually of a spiritual or personal nature. Rest assured you are now ready to deal with whatever has been lurking in the depths of your being. Whether this is a spiritual awakening, or a deep personal healing, it is ready to be activated. The rest of his message is, spiritual warriors of the earth, collectively we can change the world, although humankind is not yet ready for all of us in our might. You and others like you are preparing the way, anchoring the light into the planet. Are you ready to continue your amazing journey of empowerment? Luminaire invites you to Illuminaire, not Luminaire from Beauty and the Beast. Oh my god, the sky is getting really beautiful. Can't make this, or anything that happens in a reading is part of the reading. And I was talking about, I think it was in Capricorn's reading, could have been Sagittarius. I was talking about spiritual awakening and how, when I had this thing, I was looking at the sky and thinking it looks like a fairy tale sky. Literally, it's so funny because I came across my old photos as well, and they were so beautiful. And I remember that when I took them, I was like, the photos do not do the sky justice. It really was like I'd walked into a fairy tale version of our own world. Everything was just so much more vibrant and magical. And it's happening again. Like the sun's starting to go down, the grey clouds are clearing, I can see the blue sky, and what was grey clouds is now lit up with this kind of like yellow light. It's really beautiful. Illuminaire invites you to see the truth in all situations. I mean, you can probably tell by the change of colour on the table. I was thinking before, when the birds were flying past, you can probably see the shadows. Illuminator invites you to see the truth in all situations. He says, do not fear this illumination. Truth is a liberating and powerful ally. Your fears lie with change. Also, these lovely little tiny flies that keep coming to visit. It's so gross. Your fears lie with change, but open your heart and welcome it to your core, allowing the light to guide you forward. Such a nice reading. You always get me right in my feels, Pisces. Trust your path. Page of Masks. Yeah, definitely about the role that you play in the world. There's a lot of masks here. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? The universe is conspiring. Keep facing your true north. Your job is not to pave the path, but to simply keep facing your true north and take one step after another. If you do this, you can't go wrong. The universe is conspiring. Tell me about it. I just have to look out my window and I can see it in your reading. Don't waver or doubt. Use your heart as a compass and put one foot in front of the other. If you follow the invisible trail of what lights you up, you will light up the world without even trying. Most people don't follow their highest call of their soul because they're waiting to see the end destination before they take the first steps. If you take one baby step each day, within a year you will have taken 365 steps in your dedicated direction. If you want to write a book, write a page each day. If you want to change careers, do the one thing every day in dedication to that. Before you know it, in just a year from now, you will turn back and look in awe at how far you've journeyed. Keep moving and open yourself up to a whole new level of support and receiving. Things are not going to work out the way you are planning, but if you have a little faith and keep showing up, they will work out for you even better than you could possibly imagine. Don't micromanage the universe. Trust your path and let your soul lead the way. Work your light inquiry. If you knew you would be supported no matter what would you do? It is next to the Strength card. As I say, it was in reverse, but I do feel like there are people waiting to support you. It's almost like you have to come away from something to learn to be independent and to then work with others. I'm going to go with one Ring Circus, I think, next. I'm just really suspicious of this bull energy, and it's right in the middle of your reading. You may be dealing with somebody who's a bully. Do you know what? No, let's deal with that first. Again, it could be that you have to sacrifice something in order to be more independent. All worthwhile things mean we must sacrifice something, but martyrdom is rarely a good choice. Pisces, I do have to say that your sign is associated with a bit of martyrdom, so just be wary of that. It is good to trust your tribe. Again, there's this tribe business, there's people around you. Have faith that all will be well. Reciprocity and offering to something bigger than you is a powerful act. So it does talk about the myth, the cult of Mithras from ancient Rome, if you wanted to look that up. It says the magic. Most societies no longer sacrifice bulls like our ancestors did, but the concept of sacrifice remains. Bull energy can help you make the sacrifices you may need in order to support your work or something you desire. Bull magic can also be used to move you forward out of the sacrificial or martyrdom position you may have fallen into. Many of us continually sacrifice our own needs over and over and become unhealthily selfless as a result. That sounds like you, Pisces. You do have a tendency to sacrifice your own needs for other people, especially if you love them. So just be careful of that. This only breeds resentment and extreme neediness, which is very damaging to our growth. I do think you've realised this because this one Ring Circus is here, which talks about independence. So I'll go to that now. King of Flowers, gorgeous. I feel like this is you pouring that love into yourself and really kind of becoming self-sufficient. You are capable and competent. Independence is key now as you step into your journey today. Others may not have the vision. It's funny, you've got soul here, passion, soul with this eye. Others may not have the vision all the resources that you need. Recognize that all the wisdom you've acquired along the way makes you particularly competent, capable of moving forwards with assurance. Self-reliance is important. Another aspect to consider is creating and maintaining clear boundaries between you and another. Be discerning about your partnerships at this time. When you know who you are and have a healthy sense of where you end and others begin, you're about to enter into the best kind of relationships and will attract people who mirror back your wholeness. Interdependent relationships are always mutually supportive, again with this Strength card. Stimulating and transformative. You can achieve anything at this time. So if you're in relationships, look for interdependence, two independent people who are mutually supportive. If you're getting into a codependent situation where you're creating codependency with others in order to keep them close, that is not a good situation to be in. So do be careful about that. Let's go to the Sisterhood of the Rose. You could have sisters or female friends who are particularly supportive right now. Four of Feathers. Don't miss out on opportunities for friendships, on opportunities for bonding with people. I think that's particularly important right now. Beauty and Devotion. Priestess, which is interesting because it's followed literally by the Priestess card. Again, lots of cards in these decks. I've got 8 decks that I've shuffled. Decks have between about 44 to 78 cards in each deck. So if you total that up, that is a lot of cards that the universe could have chosen from. And they chose these 2 cards, which are next to each other. And higher power. So this is not accidental. Sisterhood of the Rose into Priestess. It's so interesting. The Sisterhood of the Rose is a lineage of priestesses and mystics who devoted their lives to serving humanity and seeding light consciousness all over the earth. A cross-section of ancient lineages, it is the path of devotion and beauty. Walking this path means being devoted to seeing and creating beauty wherever you go. The rose symbolizes the heart and the sacred geometry of life. You are being called to notice the beauty around you, particularly in nature, and hear the whisper of Mother Earth. You are being called to spend more time in nature, and as all the ancient secrets live there, Mother Earth is constantly whispering. Spending time admiring her creations, you will be rewarded with insight and grace. You are being called to take a little more time to notice the beauty that exists all around you and contribute to the beauty of the world in your own way too. It could be that through your own creations or in the little things like how you dress to picking flowers for your home. Every day you devote your time to creating beauty, you harmonize the planet a little more and the shift in the vibration can be felt. So this goes into the Priestess card, but they are from the same deck, but they are not like consecutive. So I feel like that's really, really significant. It's like when you figure out how to do this, you then have the opportunity to do it for others, to lead the way for others. This talked about taking one step in front of the other. So it's with this Two of Masks card. Now, so this means a choice in role. Which role are you going to play? Or how are you going to do this? What role are you going to take on in order to achieve something? So it says, how are you being called to step up and lead? The Priestess is a teacher dedicated to service, freedom and leadership. You don't need to have it all together to lead. In fact, it helps if you don't. No one wants a perfect angel who hasn't made any mistakes. This comes out twice for you. I'm not sure where else it came through, but it did come out twice. No one wants a perfect angel who hasn't made any mistakes. Let your life be your message. Don't underestimate the power of sharing your story. It's by hearing somebody else's journey that we feel less alone. It's funny that I was talking about my own journey at the start of the reading. We realise that we're actually all in this thing called life together. The difference between a follower and a leader is that a leader has the courage to go first. The Strength card comes with this feeling of courage. In stepping out, they shine a light on the path for others to venture forward too. Don't fret too much about trying to work out who is in your tribe. Don't get stuck in age, income, hobbies or occupation. The best way to discover your tribe is to look in the mirror. If you feel called to lead, chances are it's because at some point in your life you longed for someone to lead you. So this is a card that talks about being the leader that you needed as a child. Be the role model that you craved. Your tribe are longing for exactly the same thing as you were and are, and might only be one step behind you. They may even be right alongside you. You don't need anyone's permission, just the courage to stand up. Embrace your struggles, the peaks and the trials. You don't need to know the way. Just believe that there might be a different one. Again, this talks about you may not see the whole path, but taking one step in front of the other is going to lead you to your true north. So you're forging the way for others, and I love that. You don't need to know the way, just believe that there might be a different one. Your tribe is waiting for you. Step forward so they can find you. I love it. I love it so much. This Delphin card, I feel like, led a few of the readings last week. Again, it could have been Virgo and Leo. So there could be something there with that for you. You can choose to heal and be healed or swim in the riptides. Delphin is the etheric counterpart of the whales and dolphins. The whales are the Earth's record keepers, and the dolphins are our spiritual ancestors. They carry the blueprint of our spiritual existence here on Earth. This wise old dragon of the deep carries the same knowledge and understanding within the depths of his own being. Delphin has this to say about our journey and the oceans of our planet. The waters of Earth can cleanse or maim, support or take a life. You too are faced with a similar choice. You can choose to heal and be healed, or swim in the riptides. Neither is wrong. It's giving me Riptide by Vance Joy, so I need to remember to make a note of that in a second. Neither is wrong. It is only a matter of perspective and choice. You have been faced with the arduous situations at times and made some bad choices too. Again, with this, what we were saying down here, it's in alignment as well. So this talked about nobody wants a perfect angel to guide them, but it's the mistakes that help others through their mistakes. And here it has the same thing. You may have made some bad choices. Remember, you are human, and as humans must, your race makes mistakes and on occasion poor decisions, but it's all part of learning. It's time to forgive yourself and others and move on. Delphin takes a look deep into our soul and asks, what is your purpose on earth? What is it we must discover about ourselves? Are we healers? A spiritual guiding light for others to follow? Are we seekers of the truth through science? Are we called to work with him, possibly as ecologists or even marine biologists? He is very useful to call upon when we feel stuck and unable to go with the flow. His presence acts as a reminder that we would do well to stop struggling and surrender to the ebb and flow of life. For that which we resist persists. Your task is to uncover your driving passion and kickstart the job you came here to do. So I feel like if you are moving into something new, especially some kind of new role, it could be some kind of new work position. The Page of Earth signifies that you could be learning at the moment. It's a learning energy, a student energy. It's at the drawing board, coming up with a plan, getting the blueprints, getting the map. It moves very quickly into this Queen of Earth energy. So I think if you're feeling a bit out of your depth in something, in some kind of new role, I feel like you'll very, very quickly figure things out and get very, very skilled and very practical and very able at it. This is a quick leap from the student to the master energy. You've also got this higher power energy up here. So let's have a quick read and see what that says. Gives me Coldplay. You've got a higher power. So I should make a note. So higher power Coldplay. Higher power Coldplay. And Riptide by Vance Joy. Vance. So all the songs that come through will be in that description box down below for you. Sorry, excuse my handwriting. It's a bit tricky because it's a bubbly surface. So, you've got the Knight of Flowers as well. That's a romantic gesture. Conscious contact with a higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy. I'll bring this one closer to you. In all things, again, this fairy energy that we were talking about, seeing source energy in all things, seeing the divine in like trees and birds. I feel like you're able to do that. Committing to a partnership with spirit. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul, and you are gifted with a human life. I'm sorry, I'm just hearing the crows again. You are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good of all? How can I serve? And then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. If you're asking about a relationship today, a specific relationship, it's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power, called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. Excuse me a second. Okie dokie. So, let's just quickly read these cards and then I'll wrap up your reading for you. So we've got let's go to silence first. Allow yourself to soften. Don't speak just for the sake of it. You do not need to issue an opinion on everything. Choose your words carefully. Sometimes observing is the best way to gain information and trust. Now again, this is how the cards came out. I shuffled the 8 decks, the cards came out how they wanted to, I put them all together, I shuffled them, and this is the order they came out. So you've got this thing about not always speaking, but being the observer, and then you have it followed by the Watcher card. That's not an accident. So the Snow Leopard, the Watcher. Take the high road. Do not sink to the level of low vibration. Observe the situation closely before acting. Being silent is an option. So 2 cards about choosing silence, which explains why you were being so secretive in your last reading. Ethics is the number one concern. It's best not to continually draw attention to yourself just for the sake of filling up your ego. A little mystery is a good thing. So it talks about bodhisattvas, the compassionate energies that make people make the right and ethical choice. It says the magic. Snow Leopard magic is all about the power of being the silent watcher. Western society is an extroverted one, with the emphasis on the individual and on being seen. Yet there is much advantage to examining things quietly and observing before making decisions. Taking your time and observing a situation before you decide the next steps is wise. Snow Leopard magic is mysterious and ethical, and it can be used when you need assistance in taking the righteous path. I would look out for cat prints. Like if you see cat prints, that could be a sign from spirit. Or dog prints, because you've got dog here as well. And again, this talks about ethics and this talks about ethics. These 2 cards came out together. They're not consecutive. You've got 41 and 15. And this one is from a different deck entirely. So silence, watch, make ethical choices. You also have this thing about truth here. Again, the sky is beautiful right now. Be a firm and ethical friend. Seek loyalty and honesty in your friendships. Our friendships should be supportive and not competitive. Okay. There is a difference between solitude and loneliness. Again, one Ring Circus, difference between solitude and loneliness. Something hidden will be illuminated. We all have aspects of ourselves that we do not like or appreciate. Learn to change these things if they do not benefit us or lovingly accept them. Again, this thing about self-acceptance, about you don't have to be a perfect angel. Every one of us, every single human on earth makes mistakes, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to learn, and you learn through making mistakes. Yes, it's brilliant if we've got someone who is like a wise leader, a teacher, if we are lucky enough to be born into families and communities and go to schools where the people who raise us and nurture us, give us that brilliant toolkit and prevent us from making mistakes, while also teaching us how to avoid those mistakes. Sometimes we're given brilliant role models, sometimes we're not, and when we're not, we're more likely to make mistakes as we figure out things on our own journey and our own path, and that's okay. As long as you learn the lessons, as long as you grow as a person and you step into that role of being a good leader to others, you know, being a good example, a good role model to others, being that person that we needed in our life. I think there's a strong message there. Okay, the magic. Dog magic is loving and warm and protective. If you are feeling lonely or you wish to attract good loyal friends, you can call upon dog energy to help. If you have been betrayed by someone or you feel mistrusted, call upon this energy to heal you. All right, let's get you an advice card and then I'm going to wrap up this reading. So what advice do you have, please, for Pisces? You've got one card. It's a swan spirit, time for a deep dive, whatever that means to you. Time for a deep dive. On the underline, you've got skunk spirit, know your worth. I'm not saying you're a smelly skunk, but it does talk about accepting those parts of ourselves that are perhaps a little bit more difficult to love. When we accept them, it's easier for us to find the right people for us. Finding those people who are also going to accept those kind of sticky parts of ourselves. Lol. Right, do take care. I'm going to leave it there and tend to the things that I need to tend to, and I will see you again soon, Pisces. I hope it was helpful for you. It was a bit of a tricky reading, but we got there. Do take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye. Hello, so thank you for watching my reading. I'd love it if you hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave me a comment if anything particularly resonated, share with friends or really helps out the channel. Stealth watchers are also very welcome here. If you're interested in any of the decks I used in today's reading, you can see all the box art here below. So the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reid, the Enchanted Map Oracle cards again by Colette Baron Reid. I've got Karen Kay's Oracle of the Fairies, Rebecca Campbell's Work Your Light Oracle cards, the Divine Animals Oracle and the Elemental Oracle by Stacey DeMarco, Wisdom of the Oracle again by Colette Baron Reid, Dragon's Path by Caroline Mitchell, and again Colette Baron Reid bringing it in with the fourth deck, and it's the Spirit Animal Oracle cards. So I buy all my decks from Amazon because it's easy and it's just like set up ready to go. So you can find them all there, and I'm sure they're available from other retailers as well. Not sponsored, not an ad, I just know sometimes people are curious about the decks I'm using. So do take care and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.